In the last segment, we learned about Hayek's critique of central planning, that planning authorities cannot obtain the knowledge of particular circumstances of time and place that is required for efficient resource allocation. Knowledge, not physical resources, is the ultimate scarce resource. But an advocate of central planning might ask, what about the market? Are you saying, Professor Hayek, that individual decisions made through markets without an overall plan can be more efficient than less than perfect central planning? Hayek's answer is yes. Markets provide all the information owners and potential buyers of resources need in condensed form, in prices. The social function of prices is to convey information about relative scarcity of resources, of goods and services. So, if I am a potential developer of the tract of land in our example, and I see that its value or price as farmland is too high for me to bid it away from the farmer, this is all I need to know. I don't need to know why the land has the value it has. We might ask, why has this lesson in economics not become more widely known and accepted? Planning failure seems to call forth more planning. This is illustrated by the history of monetary and macroeconomic policy, which is a form of central planning. Since the Federal Reserve was created in 1913, the Fed has had responsibility for providing monetary stability. The Fed has access to the very best expertise in monetary economics. Yet Milton Friedman's study of monetary history led him to conclude that over its first 50 years, the Fed on balance added to monetary instability. The most dramatic example was the Great Depression, which the Fed deepened and prolonged by contracting the money supply and raising interest rates. A second instance of expert planning going awry was the so-called stagflation of the 1970s. Acting on the best advice of experts, policymakers believed that lower unemployment could be achieved with stable inflation. But inflation turned out not to be stable. Attempts to lower unemployment by accepting higher inflation led to still higher inflation and higher unemployment. And finally, there was the near collapse of the financial system and the Great Recession of 2007 to 9, which the experts did not see coming. At the very time when the Fed needed to change policy to forestall the recession, December 2006, their Monetary Policy Committee was concerned with inflation, oblivious to the threat of recession. Then, having failed to foresee the recession and having helped to create the housing finance bubble, Congress and the Fed responded by virtually taking over the banking system. They did so on the premise that the housing bubble and Great Recession were market failures. Hubris and the allure of power do indeed support what Hayek recognized as the pretense of knowledge.